Hey there, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are from. I'm Kevin from Ohio, so it is good morning here still. Let's go ahead and muster up. You know what to do. Where you from? What you munching on? Put it in the chat. Locals members, I did put the locals chat up as well, so you can talk to me there. While you're doing that, I'll get the doggo cam up and running. Let's go to that. And we have no doggos. Oh, there's one. What's up, Peepee? Hi, buddy. Hi. And I got Wiley back here with me as well. Let's see if we can get him out front in the camera. Hold on. I know you guys love them. They're the stars of the show. All right, let's see if he'll take my jib. Go get Jib. Go get him. Go get Jib. Go get him. He did.
They took our jibs. They took your jibs. They took your jibs. Took your
Derb. Come here. Give me my derb. Give me my jab. Come here. He's like, you will never get this. You will never get this. Give me my jab. Come here. Oh, come here. Come here. Good boy. Good. Oh, don't you growl at me. Owls. Stop it. Good boy. Good boy. Well, let me see if I can get him back here really quick. Here we go. You want this? You want this? Sir? Good boy. He grabbed the arm. You're silly. Good boy. Good boy. All right, chat. Mike Clark, Master Chief, thank you so much for keeping everybody up to date on the launch status. A lot of people thought I went MIA. I was keeping an eye on it. Don't worry. Apparently some boats were in the range, so they had to push it back a little bit, but here we are nonetheless. Excuse me, I have to belch, and that's very professional. 1 second. Must be that sparkling water. Okay, what other members do we got in here? A bunch of Mike Clarks. I saw another one. There he is. Paul the Lionheart, Master Chief Paul, and Admiral the Interloper. What's up, guys? Good to see you here. It's kind of a big deal today, isn't it? All right, now let me get to the muster. Scrolling. Go SpaceX, go Starship, go Kev and Doggos. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that, man. You're too kind. Okay, here we go. First place I see is New Bern, North Carolina. We got Americans in the chat, of course. America.
What, is this a communist country or something? I thought this is America.
Awesome. The second place I see is Ohio.
We're the Manchester United fan club from Ohio.
We have Illinois, plural. St. Louis, Alabama.
You should go home to Greenbow, Alabama.
Oh, we also have the UK. Welcome, UK.
You sound like you're from London.
Milwaukee. Drinking water in Utah. That's fun. At least mine's sparkling. I win. Keep on. Breakfast biscuit and some green tea. Oh, I was gonna think you were also from the UK, but you're from Texas. Texas with a sauce on the end.
I pulled him out of a place on Midgard called Texas.
Mike, of course, is from England. Not necessarily London. Princeton, Texas. Oh, wow. Here we go. The chat just skipped, and now we got a lot of places to go through. Ireland. New York State. America, Louisiana, Durham, and the UK. Australia. I got Australia here, if I can find it.
Austria. Well then, good day, mate.
West Virginia, Nebraska, another Ohioan, Kentucky, neighbors to the south, Minnesota. One of my dogs was from Minnesota. Cairo. Australia again, more Texas. Netherlands, and the chat just jumped on me again, so I apologize if I skipped some of you. Tornado State of Oklahoma. New Hampshire. Alberta, Canada. We got Canada in the chat.
Welcome to French Canada.
Oh, wow. Okay, hold on. Cincinnati, Arizona, Estonia. Oh, I am so mad at myself right now. I should have had an Encino Man clip in here. We're going to have to add that for next time. Have to have my brother remind me. This is Estonia. That's awesome. Shout out to Estonia. Weasel the jizz. Belgium, Fort Walton Beach, Florida, Glasgow, Sweden, Wales. You got another Estonian. Kenya, Israel. What's up, Israel? Oh man, you guys are from literally everywhere. We're just gonna put Planet Earth in the chat here. Welcome, Planet Earth. We'll get to the live stream here in a second. I appreciate you guys for tuning in with me. I'm sure you had many options, but this is going to be fun, man. Third test flight of the Starship Super Heavy rocket. And if you aren't caught up in all these, the first two ended with a bang. This one might also, well, it's going to end with a bang no matter what, even if it's successful, because there is no propulsive landing for the upper stage Starship. She's going to do a belly flopper. In fact, let's, before we hit to the stream, let me just read a quick paragraph from the flight profile synopsis thing here. From SpaceX, the third test flight aims to build on what we've learned from previous flights with attempting a number of ambitious objectives, including successful ascent burn, that's up burns, of both stages, opening and closing Starship's payload door. Keep an eye out for the payload door. A propellant transfer demonstration during the upper stage's coast phase. That's within its header tanks, between its tanks, so you won't actually see it. But they are doing it in preparation for the Artemis program. The first ever relight of a Raptor engine while in space, and a controlled re-entry of Starship. All right, that's the big one. Well, that's one of the big ones. Testing out that heat shield, right? It will also fly a new trajectory, with Starship targeted to splash down in the Indian Ocean. This new flight path enables us to attempt new techniques like in-space engine burns while maximizing public safety. Because originally the plan was to splash her down off the coast of Hawaii. And now I have to do Hawaii soundbite.
What adventures I have found on the tiny island of Kauai.
All right, now let's get into the stream here, since we're coming up on T-minus 20 minutes. So we'll go big screen. I'll turn the volume up and shut up for a minute. Okay.
Get all the way to re-entry, we will collect valuable data on the vehicle as it flies through the Earth's atmosphere at hypersonic speeds, or more than 5 times the speed of sound. We expect it'll look something like this animation on your screen with the heat shield tiles facing down. We'll use the Earth's atmosphere to brake the vehicle and then get us into a controllable regime as we go towards splashdown. Now, we did validate Starship's ability to fly and land at subsonic speeds during our suborbital flights several years ago. And gathering data on the aspects like heating and vehicle control while we're traveling way faster will become critical to eventually bringing Starships back from space for rapid reuse.
We'll also attempt to open and close Starship's payload door for the very first time, a capability that we'll need when Starship starts flying our next generation Starlink satellites. And there you can see an animation of what that will look like as the satellites are deployed one by one through a slot near the top of the spacecraft. So at this point in time, we are approaching T-minus 21 minutes until liftoff. Let's check in with Dan for a countdown update.
There's the man.
Hey,
Dan.
thanks, Kate. Hey, everybody. I'm Dan Hewitt. Good morning. Welcome to Starbase. I'm coming to you from the Raptor's Nest, where I'm here with some of our flight controllers, also our Pad Red team. We're just behind the Mega Bay. Those are our Super Heavy boosters right behind me, getting ready for the next 4 flights after this one. So we're looking to launch a lot this year. The countdown has been pretty clean so far. We're not tracking any issues that are gating us on the hardware side and the vehicle side from that on-time liftoff at 8:25 a.m. Central Time. That's our T0 right now. We primarily shifted later as we were just working to clear the range. The other big watch item today is going to be the winds. The winds have started to pick up. We're still looking to be below our limits, but there could be a hold at T-minus 40 seconds just to make sure that the winds are acceptable before we go. We are actively loading propellant on board the vehicle. You can see by the frost lines starting to build up. Looks like we're about 80% on the ship main tanks right now and a little over 60% on the booster. Now, Starship uses liquid methane as its fuel, liquid oxygen as its oxidizer. Both of those get cooled down to cryogenic temperatures, so several hundred degrees below zero. And if you followed along with our previous 2 flight tests, the prop load timeline today looks a little bit different. Those first flight tests, it took us about 90 minutes to load all of the prop on board. But since the second flight, we made some pretty significant upgrades to make that time shorter. We added some additional fuel and LOX pumps just to increase our capacity. We expanded the number of heat exchangers and installed a dedicated fill drain line for each stage. But they were sharing one before, now they each have their own. That's just that main pathway to get the propellant to the vehicle. We're aiming for about 51 minutes for today's operation to fully load prop. We did that successfully on our wet dress rehearsal that we did recently. Eventually, though, we're trying to get that time down to about 40 minutes. Just for some context, that's about 5 minutes longer than we take on Falcon 9, but we're doing it with 10 times the amount of propellant. Now, the propellant load on ship started at about T-minus 53 minutes, booster right around T-minus 42 minutes. We are about to pause loading on the main tanks of ship, switch over to the header tanks, and then switch back to close out the main tanks. We're expecting all of the prop to be on ship at about T-minus 3 minutes 30 seconds, and then booster prop load ends at T-minus 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
Awesome. I love this this animated diagram over here where you can see all the tanks filling up. These are the header tanks up here, so that's cool, which are used for like boost back burns and flippy burns and stuff like that. Not as much sploshing going on. What's going on, Brownsville? I saw another, there he is, Mark Kreider. What's up, Master Chief Mark Kreider? Thanks for joining us. Hello from Rushville, Indiana. Thank you so much, William Shidall. Thank you for that support. I appreciate you. Neighbor to the west. West. Yes, west. That is correct. Indiana is west of Ohio, in case you didn't know that. She is smoky. Again, if you don't watch many rocket launches, smoking is good. Smoking's good for rockets, but smoking's bad for you. Drugs are bad for you, okay? So don't do drugs, but rockets are supposed to steam and smoke like that, all right? That's just the very cold liquid propellant boiling off and being vented and condensing in the warm Brownsville air, okay? So the rocket doesn't rupture. Nobody likes ruptured rockets. Well, we do, but we don't. All right. Ooh, more diagram stuff.
And with future engine upgrades, it will actually be 3 times more powerful.
Now, with those future improvements, that'll allow Starship to carry somewhere between 150 and 250 metric tons to orbit, depending on the configuration.
They're making Starship
For reference,
bigger,
Falcon 9's heaviest payload to date is just over 17 metric tons. So with Starship, we're talking about an order of magnitude greater in terms of payload capability to orbit. And that matters because the amount of mass we're able to launch per rocket is critical to creating a self-sustaining city on Mars.
In terms of size, the Super Heavy booster alone stands about 71 meters or 233 feet tall and is about...
Okay, most of us know this. We got another super chat from Chris Collins. Chris from Houston here. What's up, Houston, Texas? Please check out Lonesome Soul EP by Chris Collins. Streaming everywhere. I think you might like it. The vets at Camp Hope love it. All right. I appreciate your support and your plug. I'll check that out. Don't know what that is, but thank you very much. What an inventive way of advertising. I like it. Let's see. Felt like I was going to say something related to this launch, but I can't think of it. Upskirt view right here. Cover your eyes, perverts. So my mother-in-law, she the other week she got one of those spam emails, right, from Nigeria or something. And I almost wanted her to like send her money to this prince or whatever, because the title of the email was "Hello, pervert," and then went on to try to scam her out of money. It was such an inventive way of robbing people. All right, check out the drone shot. I like it.
The body of Starship is also wrapped in a heat shield made up of 18,000 hexagonal ceramic tiles. Those are designed to insulate the vehicle during atmospheric entry, where temperatures can be as high as 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit. One of our test objectives today is to verify how Starship systems and thermal protection system tiles perform during reentry. And in between the first and second stages is our hot stage, which is critical for our newest separation technique, which we saw in action during flight test 2.
Yeah, that was a pretty exciting first for our team. Hot staging had never been done before as part of a reusable space transportation system, let alone on a vehicle with the size and power of Starship. Now, at about liftoff plus 2.5 minutes, the booster shut down most of its 33 engines, leaving just 3 of them running. And then the ship simultaneously ignited all 6 of its engines. Some clamps separated, and the ship thrusted away. That was the first in-flight test of the heat shield, and we were able to gather a ton of valuable data about hot staging.
We maximize the vehicle's performance by leaving 3 first-stage engines on, so gravity can't rob us of precious velocity, or at least not as much.
The other one's laying right here.
Hot staging also helps to ensure the ship's liquid propellants are at the bottom of the propellant tanks, which is where we need them to be in order to quickly light the ship's engines. It also reduces risk at stage separation because it creates a passive staging system so that physics will be doing the work instead of mechanical parts pushing the 2 stages away from each other. Ultimately, hot staging could increase Starship's payload to orbit capacity by 10%, which directly translates to more payload and more people to the Moon and Mars.
Now, the first stop will be the Moon, and the SpaceX team has been hard at work proving out all of the systems necessary to make that possible. Critical systems for propulsion, life support, and even the elevator that you see here, which will take crew and cargo from the Starship hatches down to the lunar surface, are currently in development. And the data that we gather from each test flight helps inform their design. Here we've got a photo of some of the mock-up suits that are used to demonstrate the range of mobility that astronauts will be expected to have. And we were using these to do human factors demonstrations and figure out the layout of the elevator. So all awesome development work for a future moon mission.
Super cool. Now, SpaceX will perform one uncrewed demonstration flight before NASA's Artemis 3 mission, which will be the first human surface expedition since 1972. After those first expeditions, we'll be ready to fly more people along with everything it takes to build a moon base. There's so much to look forward to. It's incredible that humans are finally going back to the moon.
You couldn't have said it better, Kate. And the moon is just the proving ground. It's just the start. When the time comes to make the leap to Mars, everything ramps up by orders of magnitude. The logistics of supporting an entire city on Mars are daunting and will require millions of pounds of cargo flown from Earth and spread out over thousands of launches.
And today's flight test is one more step toward that ultimate goal. We're currently at T minus 11 minutes, 47 seconds.
Yes, we are. Thank you. Back to me. Chris Spinolo. Oh, I like that. Spinolo, yo. Thank you for the tip, the super chat tip. There he is again. Come to step on PPOP. Hi. Thank you, Kevin. Hang in there. I will. Thank you so much. Back to me. Let's celebrate Chris's first super on a live stream. High five, Chris. There he is again. That's not Chris. That's Wiley. Chris is in the chat. Yeah, so if you guys didn't catch the last SpaceX in the news episode, I made a little announcement afterward that, and my members already knew this from late last year when I told them, as the year progresses and 2024 comes to an end, at the end of 2024, SpaceX in the news will be no mas, as our friends to the south would say. I'll be ending it. So we won't have weekly SpaceX in the news episodes anymore. Sometimes we might, but they're going to be fewer and farther between now. There are several reasons for that. The biggest one of which, though, is I want to focus more on my Bible teachings on Sundays and my personal Bible lessons. So there are other reasons. If you want to know more reasons, you can just you can get them from my recent Starship documentary that released on Christmas on X, but before that, it was at the beginning of December, I believe, on YouTube and Rumble. It's called Tower of Babylon, and I can't remember the full title of it. You can find it though. Here on YouTube on my channel page is like the main video. If you can go to my channel page. If you haven't noticed, while we have awesome stuff like this to watch, the world's getting quite dark, and it's getting quite dark for a reason. And the more I study my theology, the more I see where this is heading. And I'm no prophet, but everyone holding to a biblical worldview and understands the theology of the Bible, they know where this is heading. So we don't know the timing, but we know what's up. And the more I read and the more I study, the more I can see, like, I'm not even confident that this is. I won't even get into it with Starship, but I'm not even confident we're gonna make it to Mars anymore. I don't think we're gonna get the opportunity anymore, guys. I really don't. Again, I could be wrong, and I hope I am, but I think America's gonna be done before Starship gets a chance to put people on Mars, but could be wrong. Anyway, regardless, that's not the main reason. The main reason is I want to focus more time elsewhere on more eternal things. Again, Starship is still really cool. I hope it succeeds, but it ain't up to us. All right, back to Wiley really quick, then back to the stream and see what they're talking about. We're coming up on T-8 minutes. Luma wipe to Wiley. He is doing nothing. Thanks for nothing. Thanks for the long face. Yeah, if you can't tell that, you know, the how dark it's getting out there, then your head's in the sand. I mean, the only people still denying it are those who don't apologize for voting for Joe Biden. Not to get political, but that's the truth. You know, maybe things can turn around. Maybe a revival can happen, but there's too many other signs going on. I just don't see that happening. All right. I think we're too far off the cliff now, but I could be wrong. And, you know, I'm not going to name names, but the whole space community itself, again, you can watch that documentary. It's pretty dark. And I've been around from the beginning of it. I started this genre on YouTube. So I see what's going on. Every week when I research SpaceX in the news, it's like I go from my Bible studies where I feel good and it's positive, it's hopeful. And then I do these videos and I research for them, and I have to go deep in the community, and it's very dark. Like you wouldn't see it unless you have a biblical worldview and you're in that biblical worldview every day. But the more I go and the more I study it and the more I read into it, the more I keep my eyes focused on Jesus, the more I can see that darkness. And it is dark. It's a lot darker than I ever thought it was. So, yeah, a lot of evil that surround, like the Starship program is not evil, but the spiritual forces and the community around it is very dark, which is why you see things like, you know, gender mutilation being supported by NASA and those in the SpaceX community and stuff. It's very dark, and it just wears me down, man. It like, greater is he who is in you than that is in the world, but man, it's very dark. It's a lot darker now than it was during COVID, and it was very dark during COVID. It's getting much darker. Again, the blind won't see it. Okay, not to get all negative on you, but that's the reasons, okay? I'd rather stay hopeful and positive in the Bible and what's coming than, you know, wear myself down by dealing with the evil that's the people themselves are not evil, but they are surrounded by, you know, spiritual forces that are evil. They're puppets. That's Ephesians 6:12.
Usability. Now we're just
if you want to know more information,
minutes, so I think
you
it's
can
another
check out
good
my
time to check in
personal
with
channel,
Dan for the rest of Terminal Count.
Kevin
How are we looking,
Haymeyer.
Dan?
Every week I post my Bible studies on that channel. Just, you know, I don't make revenue from it, just to like share the good news, and we go very deep into that stuff, into the Bible. So, and, you know, it's not going to be for everyone. Not everyone's saved. Not everyone's going to be saved. That's the truth, and we're told that. In fact, as the days draw to an end, more people will become scoffers. And, you know, when I went to seminary, I did 3 years of seminary in 2 years, about 10 years ago. And I did my last year when I began teaching. So it was a very busy time in my life. But I went for apologetics, which is the defense of Christian faith through, you know, science. So I spent my grad school studying science and creationism and, you know, philosophy, but mostly science, like evolutionary science. And at the time I was really into it, like that really interests me. But now it just bores me because I'm so much beyond that now, thanks to, God's grace over the last year and a half almost, as I've dug further into my studies. Like I know the truth. I know what the truth is. I know it's more real than what this reality is. And it bores me to argue with people or debate with people that are so far behind, like who are just focused on the material and the natural and, the study of the natural, the science of it. Science is awesome, but it can't keep up with the theology of the Bible. It can't. And so it just bores me because those people are so far behind in their thinking. What interests me now is the deep thinking, God's kind of thinking. And the further I get into that, just the more it wows me. And that's kind of what I was getting at the end of last Friday's episode of SpaceX in the News. So that's why most of the reasons why, I guess you could say, the SpaceX in the News content's coming to an end, focusing on bigger and better things, even better than Starship, believe it or not. All right. The Bible tells us that not everyone will understand. As the days come to an end, only the wise will understand, not the fools.
There's just more availability in the window, and sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes the winds dip just enough where you can launch the rocket safely, and otherwise, if you didn't have that ability to hold a few minutes, you might miss that window and then have to recycle to another day.
Yeah, exactly, which is kind of like today. Like we mentioned earlier, winds are the thing that we are watching, so good news there. So we are still continuing to progress. We're looking at liftoff in just under almost 2.5 minutes from now. Super exciting. Like we said before, there's nothing more exciting than watching a test flight for a developmental program, and that's where we're at today.
And like we talked about, we have some really ambitious goals for today's test. But really, the point of today's test is to try to get as much data as we can so we can inform the next iteration of the design of Starship, work those things into flight test number 4 and new objectives there that'll eventually get us to that glorious, rapid, reusable future that we so badly want.
Yeah, for flight 1, we wanted to clear the pad, and we did. For flight 2, we wanted to get through hot staging separation, and we did. So today, we want to get even further than that and collect as much data as we possibly can. So with all that being said, we're going to check back in with Dan to take us through the final 2 minutes of terminal count.
All right. We are under 2 minutes away.
See if it happens. Watching them wins.
We have closed out the prop load on the booster and on the ship.
Might have a pause at 40 seconds. We'll see. Sorry, hold.
And we're starting to hear some good news that it looks like winds are not going to hold us up, so there's a good chance we blow right through that 40-second hold. So We're about 1 minute and 20 seconds away. Just walking you through one last time, we're going to see the engines ignite about 4 seconds before we hit our T0. They're going to ignite in 3 different banks. You'll get 13 of the inners, 15 of the outers, and then the last 5 ignite just 2 minutes before T0. And then after that, the quick disconnect will retract. The engines will start to throttle up, and then we'll see liftoff about 1.5 seconds after T0. So we're under 1 minute away. Don't be shocked if we hold at 40 seconds before, but it sounds like the winds are cooperating today. And we'll be able to move right past that, not tracking any other technical issues that could hold us.
Past our
Here we go.
QD vent gate.
Here we go. We'll see. Come on, Starship.
Through the QD vent gate.
Do something.
Go for launch.
Flight Director Ty Huntington telling the team we are go for launch. So 20 seconds to go. Let's listen in.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
popsicle. Lick that cloud.
Nominal.
30 seconds into flight, we are feeling the rumble. We are seeing 33 out of 33 Raptor engines ignited on the Super Heavy booster.
Booster and ship, avionics, power, and telemetry nominal.
More clouds to lick.
Acquisition of signal, Corpus Christi.
There it is.
Continuing to get good call outs. Our trajectory looking nominal, systems looking nominal. Just amazing to see all 33 lit up once again.
Another
At this
layer
point,
to
we've
lick.
already passed through max Q, that maximum dynamic pressure.
Everyone's focusing on the rocket. I'm focusing on the
And
cloud
passing
layers.
supersonic, so we're now moving faster than the speed of sound. Getting those onboard views from the ship cameras. Now the next major milestone is going to be a hot staging maneuver. Again, we're going to be doing that in just about 90 seconds. To do that, we're going to shut down all but the 3 center Raptor engines on Super Heavy. That'll be our MECO, our most engines cut off. And then the clamps holding the 2 stages together are going to release. Starship's second stage will ignite its engines, the RVACs first, the sea levels right after that. The sea level engines will be splayed or just kind of pointed out at about a 15-degree angle. So if you look close and we get good tracking, you might be able to see those center right after. And so those 6 engines will push Starship off of the booster. All right, counting down now. We're going to be coming up right at around the 3-minute mark on that hot staging maneuver. Again, we'll see the booster engines start to shut down. You'll see all but 3 lights go out in the middle. And then we'll see the engines ignite on ship, pushing it away. And that will start carrying the ship into space. Booster will start to do its flip and then move into the boost back burn, setting it up before eventually splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico.
Stage separation.
There it is. Nice.
Boost back startup.
Look at that. See if she holds together.
Hot staging confirmed. Boosters now making its way back, seeing 6 engines ignited on ship. Kate, we got a Starship on its way to space and a booster on the way back to the Gulf.
Oh man, I need a moment to pick my jaw up from the floor because these views are just stunning. These are live views from Starship. First stage is currently performing the
ship avionics, power and telemetry nominal.
Good there, news informing us that the second stage or the ship, everything looking good, nominal there. First stage is currently performing the boost back burn, expecting that to last about 1 minute. That boost back burn,
where's the tracking
that boost back burn propels
Maybe
the booster back towards the coast, taking it to a landing in the waters of the Gulf of Mexico. We're only using the Super Heavy boosters 13 center engines from here on out. As whenever they relight, you'll be able to see that in the left bottom corner. Those are the ones that can gimbal. In other words, they move and change direction in order to change the thrust to steer the first stage back to Earth.
Already better than last time.
Wow, these are just incredible views coming to us.
That's insane, man.
Everything is looking good for both the first stage on the left-hand side of your screen or the Super Heavy booster, as well as on the right-hand side of your screen, that is Starship, or we also refer to that as the ship. Now, the boost back burn was the first of 2 burns required to return it to Earth. The next one will be the landing burn, where all 13 center engines will initially ignite and then transition into a 3-engine burn to help slow it down. Now, just as a reminder of the Stage 1 test objectives, we're looking for controlled ascent, which we have so far. Stage separation, which, gorgeous, we cruised right through it, as well as
on a nominal trajectory.
Good news there, telling us that the path that Starship is on is good. Now, Starship's second stage is still firing its engines, and as you heard, following planned flight path. The ship objectives, we're looking for hot staging, again, cruised right through that. We're looking to demonstrate controlled ascent, as well as orbital insertion. Now, the bottom right-hand corner of the screen shows the ship engine graphics, so be sure to keep an eye on those.
Yep, Kate, this is just a phenomenal test so far. Super Heavy is performing beautifully today. It's on its return leg of the journey. Ship continuing to burn its 6 engines, those larger circles, the Raptor vacuum engines, the inner circles, the Raptor sea level engines. We're about 30 seconds away, just under 30 seconds away from the start of the boost back burn. The landing burn on the booster. You can see the grid fins rotating. Those hypersonic grid fins are guiding us through the atmosphere back towards our splashdown site. Again, we're going for a splashdown, a soft splashdown. So for landing burn, we're going to expect to see the 13 center engines light,
from the clouds,
rapidly bring down the booster's velocity, and then just the 3 in the center for splashdown.
What is going crazy? Get yourself under control, you big lug.
We're getting a few engines.
Oh no, only 2 engines. Ain't happening.
And acquisition of signal.
Where were you before tracking camera? Come on.
Now,
He's looking.
This is a test objective today. It is still something that we're attempting to learn. And to make it that far to demonstrate the controlled re-entry up to that point is pretty darn good. Ship continuing to look nominal with its ascent burn.
1 engine
burn
survived.
lasting about 6 minutes total.
Hi, buddies.
And we're expecting that this burn will end just after T+8 minutes, about a minute from now. So far, though, I mean, congrats to the team. Making it this far is farther than we've gone on Flight 2. Just wonderful views and great engine performance from the vehicles. So far, we've hit controlled ascent. We're in the middle of that right now. We demonstrated the hot staging. Kate, as you said, cruised through that.
Oh, I guess we're coming up on
we
St.
demonstrated
Patty's Day, huh?
controlled entry of the booster. Just dropped a little short of the engine relay, but hey, that's something we can learn for the next one.
Yeah. Now that view that we just had moments ago was a live shot of Star Command. There you see it again. This is our mission control center at Starbase, where vehicle operators are standing by. Now the next milestone coming up is in less than a minute. At that point, ship will, or I'm sorry, actually it already has.
Starship engine cut off.
There we go.
There we go. Starship has survived thus far. Looks like we're missing a tile right there. Maybe that was there before, I don't know. That might just be like frost.
Starship's 6 Raptor engines have successfully shut down. We heard a call out for nominal orbital insertion, which is incredible. Look at these views, Dan.
I'm just completely blown away right now. What a day. Congratulations to the entire SpaceX team. I mean, this flight pretty much just started, but we're farther than we've ever been before. We've got a Starship not just in space, but on its coast phase into space. Just to recap where we've come, and it's only been 9.5 minutes. How has it only been 9.5 minutes? We lifted off right on time at 8:25 a.m. We didn't have to hold at our gate at all. We had 33 out of 33 Raptor engines open up and light and get us through a nominal ascent. Another successful hot stage. All 6 engines on the ship propelling us into orbit. We did see what looked like a nominal boost back burn. And then we did make it all the way to the landing burn this time. Didn't light all the engines that we expected, and we did lose the booster. We'll have
What's
to go
up,
through
Eric
the data
Beavers?
to figure
Master
out
Chief
exactly what
Beavs.
happened, obviously.
Eric has his own
so be on the
YouTube channel
lookout
that
for
I follow.
information about that. But
Great Western buildings.
wow,
It's awesome.
a ship
Very well
in
done
space.
stuff.
We've got a bunch of, as we said, ambitious objectives ahead of us over the next couple of minutes and pretty much over the next hour, where we're going to really, we've got the ship in space. We're now going to take advantage of this and try and learn as much as possible about some of the other systems, including that first ever Raptor relight in space. So it's just going to be incredible. So all of that still to come. The mission just started, but wow, what a liftoff! What a hot stage! What an amazing sight to see Starship there in outer space.
I can't believe we're seeing it in space. This is awesome.
Wonderful.
Now, we are going to be coasting for the next about 30 minutes or so. We'll be back around the T plus 40 minute mark. And that'll be Starship continuing to coast, hit those ambitious test objectives, and then continue on to re-entry. We're not totally sure what video that we'll get, since that normally comes to us as we overfly ground stations, and we don't have a ton of those along our trajectory. But as we have video, we'll be sure to bring that to you.
Starlink may be able to bring us additional communication paths today that will allow us to talk to Starship through re-entry with no communications blackout period. It's a possibility, but either way, we will be live for all of today's milestones. And of course, when we do have views,
signal, Puerto Rico.
especially like the ones that we have now, which I just cannot get over. When we have views, we will be sure to bring those to you live. But no views or no views, we'll see you back here at T plus 40 minutes.
Pez door is opening.
And there we just heard call it that Pez door is
Opening
opening,
the
so that's
Pez
great.
door.
First test.
Where's
One
the
of our
Pez
test
door
objectives
cam?
today is to open and close that Pez door. That's where we will deploy Starlink satellites from in the future. So great news there that test that test objective is already underway. So come back here, stick around till T plus 40 minutes for coverage of Starship's deorbit burn demonstration, followed by its reentry and what is sure to be an exciting splashdown.
Gotta love that elevator music. All right, wow, how about that? Booster almost made it to the first cloud layer at least. Keith Mabe, hailing from the great state of Texas, emoji cowboy face. Let's light this candle heart emoji rocket exploding. Keep on trucking, Kev. Prayers. Thank you so much. Yeah. Man, it is quite packed there in Hawthorne, ain't it? Left-hand side there. I haven't seen the Musk man yet. I'm sure he's on the right, just off camera, perhaps. Unless that's him. I haven't really been paying attention to it. I have a surprise for you guys. So let me get that set up. I'll be right back. Okay. We're going to switch to this. All right. Here we are with Starship back on the pad. I figured we could do this while we wait for that 25 minutes or so to go by. I just slapped this baby together last night, and this is the first time I played KSP in, I guess, since like early January. So I'm going to be a little rusty. And I didn't, like when I say I slapped it together, I have no idea how this thing's going to fare. Okay? I don't even expect it to like make it past the cloud layer. All right, but let's give this a try. All right, I'm going to see if I can do better than what SpaceX just did. I'm going to say absolutely, right? Got to stay positive. Here we go. Oh, got the countdown. That's right. Ooh, check out the... It looks like the payload bay. I know they showed the payload bay a second ago. Up here, the SpaceX feed. It's away. Wow. We've already exceeded my expectations. Oh, too much. Back. Take it easy there, Skipper. Jeb is flying this thing. Obviously, he sucks. Did you see Starship Super Heavy do that? I don't think so. All right, that takes talent. All right, look at that. Do a flippity flip and still continue towards space, sort of. Yeah, that's only something I do. Right, SpaceX can't do that. All right, back on our correct trajectory here. Actually, I meant to do that, so we would get on the correct trajectory. Okay, continuing upward and onward. This way. Now we can pitch it over in a controlled fashion. I don't plan on doing any more flips, but if it happens, because I had them planned. If it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, I'm not. You just think I am. Alright? Here we go. Alright. We haven't even gotten halfway to the Kerman line yet, but we're still pitching it over because we're almost out of fuel here. Apparently I didn't plan that correctly. Got a hot stage. It's away. Oh, look at that. And we have almost all of our engines. We lost one. That's just one less than what. There goes the booster. There goes the booster right there. That's just one less engine than what SpaceX had for their Starship. Where are you going? Why aren't you facing horizontal? What are you doing? All right, we're gonna cut the engines because we're gonna need to save some for a landing burn, but we're going into the darkness, and that sucks because then we won't be able to see. I wonder if I can make it all the way around. All right. That's how we control it with the RCS system. Still got the real Starship up here, you know, making poofers, just like our Starship's making poofers. All right, let's see if we can get this back in the, I don't know if we're gonna be able to get it back in the daylight, but we're gonna try. We might be able to. Let's put this more on the horizon here. Nope, never mind. RCS system back on, please. It's because we, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna shut these down. Deactivate. That should make it more symmetrical and more stable. Take it all the way up to the apogee. Man, our Starship is so much better than the real Starship. If you're just tuning in, we're just waiting for the coast phase for the real Starship to end, and we'll get back to that stream. We're just wasting time, really. I had this planned since test flight 2, but I just slapped it together last night. All right, burn, baby, burn. We gotta save just a little bit of fuel for the controlled splashdown. All right. Oh, we're gonna make it to daylight. How about that? Sorry, chat. I can't see the chat, so if you're talking, I can't read it yet, but I'll read it later. Oh. That's good. That will still bring us in. Okay, we're just gonna have a long descent phase. Okay. All right. So let's time warp to the atmosphere. There's the moon. All right. I apologize if you can't see it yet. You should see it soon. My ship is upside down. I'm gonna change that. There we go. Yeah, that helps. It helps if the ship is actually the right orientation. Heat shield down, even though there really isn't a heat shield. So we might blow up, now I think about it. We may blow up. I didn't even consider that as an option, because I'm just that positive of a guy. So this is actually what Starship's gonna do, although it's probably gonna be a little bit more angled up like that. I don't want to take it too angled or I'll probably spiral out of control. But in like 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes, this is what Starship's gonna do. She's gonna come in belly smacking on the atmosphere. Beautiful. We might actually land on land. That's probably gonna be what happens. We're the Chinese space agency now, boys. All right, we drop our rockets on the land, not caring who they crush. She's still holding together. She hasn't done blowed up yet. She might though now. There's a temperature gauge. There's two temperature gauges. This might have been a mistake. I didn't do any kind of like re-entry burn. So, kind of forgot to do that. Uh-oh. It's actually pretty stable though. I'm quite impressed with how stable she is. For now, she won't be stable for long because heat doesn't go away. Oh, this is gonna be awesome. I think it might survive. I think the heat's going down. Yep, it's going down. Of course it's gonna survive. I built it, right? SpaceX should hire me if they knew what was good for. I've never done this before. I'm impressing myself right now. Wow, we might actually fly this over the whole land area. Probably not though. But maybe we'll get some gliding out of it, and we will. Maybe. All you doubters. You guys didn't believe. I believed the whole time. I knew she'd make it. No doubts. I was just acting. Like, I'm actually impressed that, like, I didn't have to, like, steer it at all through that. It just did its thing. Alright. We survived re-entry. Our invisible heat shield tiles worked. Alright. Patent pending. SpaceX copycats. All right. So now we have to figure out how to splash this down without breaking it apart. Because we're going to try to do a controlled splashdown. Okay. And I've never done this before, so we're just going to wing it. Haha. Pun intended. Man, she's still gliding. Holy cow. If we're gonna land on this island, I'm gonna laugh. I want to splash it down, but it would be my luck that we plop this down on dry land. I think we're gonna fly over it. I think we're good. Okay, we're gonna try to tilt it up a little bit more. I don't think I can. I don't think I have that possibility to arc it up anymore. Arch it up. Arc it up. She's trying. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're fine. Everyone's fine. Everyone's fine. Jeb is fine. He's just peed his pants a little bit. A little bit of dribblage going on there in this Jeb spacesuit. Okay. Take it back to the right. Nope. Don't go nose down. We've been fine this whole time. Why are you acting up now? Stupid beast. Alright. Just keep your head up. Keep your head up. Keep your nose up. Stay positive. Let's go to the left a little bit. There we go. There we go. A little bit more. Apparently our missing engine is making this thing a twee bit not symmetrical and lopsided and unbalanced, but that's fine. We're working with what we got. You know, if this thing actually does do a controlled splashdown, that means our mission went better than SpaceX's first time. You can hire me, SpaceX, but you can't afford me, all right? I require at least a minimum of $30K a year. Okay. I'm sad we won't get to lick any clouds on the way down, but at least they're here watching. I'm fully on the, what key is that? On the S key, trying to lift the nose up. Hopefully the thicker atmosphere helps us out. SpaceX is showing off, as you can see over here, the interior of Starship, the payload department. Maybe on future flights we'll see some Starlink satellites. That'd be sweet. Okay, coming in at 2,500 meters. I don't even know when we should start the engines up, and if the engines can even gimbal enough to point the nose up, because I can't do anything else with these wings or fins or whatever you want to call them. We gotta get the nose up. Understand me, Jeb? Not your nose, he's looking up. We gotta get the nose of the spacecraft up. Alright, let's try it. We're gonna try it manually here. Need help. Oh, we got it. How's that for help? We did it. I'm available for hire, SpaceX. You say, Kevin, that's cheating. Okay, fine. Well, then we'll just do this. There. Oh no. I should have kept the chute, brah. Point your nose up, Jeb. Should have kept the chute, brah. Hey! It still worked. And it still works. It's reusable. Well, for a short, limited time, it's reusable. Please clap. That was fun. All right, I'm gonna take you guys back to the live stream right quick, and then I'll join you here in a second. All right. I'm back, but then SpaceX went away. Is that jazz? I hate it. Okay, now I gotta go through the chat and see what you guys are chatting about. No making fun of me, okay? I have sensitive feelings. It was falling with style, yeah. Actually, I kind of want to like make it better now. I just slapped it together just for craps and giggles, but now that it actually did that well, I kind of want to perfect it. Maybe I'll do that for members in the near future. Yeah, can barely, like, did you guys get confused with my Starship and the real Starship window there on the screen? They basically are identical twins. So what's Starship doing right now? Is it simulating artificial gravity? It's like spinning. Is it not? Or is it just me? I didn't drink last night or anything, but it looks like the Earth is spinning. Did an RCS thruster get stuck on? Are they doing the propellant transfer right meow? Is that what they're doing? Do we have any commentary? No. Let me see what SpaceX is up to here on the X. Ooh, they did show the Pez door. I don't know if you guys managed to catch that or not. I want to see it really quick. We'll watch it together in case you didn't see it either. I guess this is a recap of the Pez door in action. This is it right here down below. Did it do anything? It didn't do anything, SpaceX. At least I don't think it did. Maybe we just can't see it from this angle. What did they say about it? Pez door checkout complete, door closing, and HD views are over. I didn't even see it close. Did you guys? Oh, I see a shadow right there. I don't know. I don't know. What is going on with Starship, guys? What's it doing? Any theories? Some of you are being censored in the yeah, YouTube sucks, dude. Another reason why I'm not gonna miss making videos and putting them on YouTube is because they still have me blacklisted and have for the last 4 years. So I apologize if some of your comments aren't allowed to come through. Usually if you include links or swearing, I guess they don't allow you to do that. I don't know. I just work here. Testing the antenna perhaps. That's a theory. Maybe they're doing that. Looks like they're really getting the most out of those RCS thrusters, those reaction control thrusters, man. If that's what I'm really seeing here. It looks like what I'm seeing with the poofage here and over here. Like me, they are stalling. Oh yeah, I'm stalling hard right now. What time did they say they were going to come back on? T plus 40 minutes, I think is what they said. I guess I could look at the flight profile at spacex.com/lunches. Starship lunch. See, scrolling down. They're going to do a Raptor in space relight demo at T plus 40 minutes and 46 seconds, according to their website. And then 9 minutes after that, a little less than 9 minutes, they're going to do the re-entry. Wow, it's going to take, I never really looked at this in detail, it's going to take like 13 minutes for it to re-enter and become transonic, and then another minute to actually go subsonic, and then another minute and a half to land or belly flop or whatever it's going to do. Elon stated that they are planning on doing a gravity simulation. Keith Mabe says, spinning the ship like it is now. Yep. Okay, well, I was just guessing. I didn't know that's what the plan was. That's cool. I thought I remember hearing that back like a week or so ago, but I didn't really look into it because I don't care. So at least if you're going to take Starship to Mars, if you're going to be one of the guinea pigs, Martian guinea pigs, you might have some artificial gravity on your cruise there. Oh, they're back. Let's turn the volume up. How about that? Thank you, guys.
At 8:25 a.m. Central Time. Our main objective today was to get through all of our ascent burns and collect as much data as possible, including a potential Starship entry. And we just came out of a coast phase and were treated to a number of HD views thanks to Starlink, including the PEZ door open-close test. So that was one of our test objectives today that we met. So that's awesome. It has been such a great day.
It has been a phenomenal test day. Just to see booster lifting a Starship to ascent, ship completing its ascent. Just a wonderful day. Kind of to recap the objectives a little bit. Booster completed its ascent, ignited its 33 Raptor engines. We demonstrated a successful hot staging for the second time. Booster completed the boost back burn, didn't quite accomplish the landing burn, and then had a hard splashdown in the Gulf. Meanwhile, ship
almost
completely successful after the hot staging. We had a good 6-engine burn of the Raptor vacuum engines and sea level engines. And then we've commanded a number of demonstrations, including the Starlink satellite deploy demo, so the payload door, as well as a prop transfer demonstration. We do still need to do some data review on those, so as we get that data back, we'll be sure to update you on social for how those tests went. We are coming up on our next major milestones, which is an in-space relight of our Raptor engine for the first time, followed by re-entry and then landing in the Indian Ocean.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's right, guys. We should be just about 40 seconds away, 40 or 50 seconds away, if we do this relight demo. Do want to stress this is not a deorbit burn. In fact, it's actually going to function a little bit opposite of a deorbit burn. We're going to be raising our perigee with this burn, or the lowest point of our orbit. This is just to demonstrate that we can relight a Raptor engine on ship while it's gone through a coast, while it's in outer space, while it's in microgravity, all of the different complexities that come with lighting this engine again after it's already done an ascent burn, but you're now coasting through space. This is going to be really important anytime we want to do in-space maneuvers in the future, like eventual deorbit burns, any of our translunar injections that'll have Raptor engines firing back up. We may not do it. There is, all of the guidance is loaded into Starship's computer itself, so if it doesn't see the values that it needs to, we could just skip the burn. So we are waiting to find out if that's going to happen or not. If it doesn't, as we said in the beginning, we're on a pretty steep trajectory that we are coming home no matter what, regardless of doing a burn. This was done just so we can really, we're in a trajectory that's really not super susceptible to delta V changes in velocity. If we were to do a burn, we've got a pretty concise footprint in the Indian Ocean that we're going to be targeting for splashdown today. It does sound like we are skipping past the on-orbit relight demo this time. Again, we'll confirm all of this through our post-flight data review, but it did sound like we did pass through that burn. So now that's going to start setting us up for re-entry.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So coming up next around T plus 49 minutes is Starship re-entry. Now, this is typically a portion of flight where we don't have communications with spacecraft because they're re-entering the Earth's atmosphere at or around orbital velocity, about 8 kilometers per second or roughly 5 miles per second. Super fast. Now, at those speeds, the spacecraft's interaction with the atmosphere results in friction and creates a plasma field around the vehicle. That blanket of plasma distorts communication frequencies, so we're basically left with a brief communications blackout. Now, we might get some telemetry back through a connection to the tracking and data relay satellite system, also known as TDRS. But if the plasma doesn't entirely block it, that connection will be at a very slow data rate and definitely too slow for any video.
But that's why Starship and Starlink are a great partnership. Starship is so big that it will leave a wake or a hole in the plasma field as it flies through an atmosphere. You can think of a wake kind of like when you see a boat going through the ocean. It sort of leaves a trail behind it. There's some of those great views from Starlink,
like our Starship,
giving us
doesn't it?
views
Copycats.
of Starship's onboard videos. And so we're hoping that the Starlink on board will let us, just like we're seeing these videos now, see through that plasma field by maintaining a continuous communication lock with the satellites on orbit through the wake that Starship leaves behind. Now, this is only the second time that we're testing Starlink during re-entry. So even though we do have these great visuals now, don't be surprised if we manage to get some signal hiccups through. We're still learning about what that wake will actually look like in practice and whether we're able to get that live continuous high-speed data during re-entry.
Yeah, that's right. And one of the really primary reasons we want to use Starlink is to just gather as much data as possible. It's been said the data is the payload on one of these flights. Where we're putting this flight hardware in a real flight environment, trying to learn about it as much as possible. Re-entry is going to be a really critical phase of flight. We really want to know how the ship's going to perform, especially that heat shield, as we're going through the hypersonic re-entry. So if something were to go wrong during this re-entry, we want as many paths as possible to collect that information, that data, just to, again, just continually feed back into the Starship program to make each flight more reliable, more successful.
Acquisition signal, Mauritius.
Now, if Starship manages to make it all the way through re-entry, we'll collect valuable data on Starship flying through the Earth's atmosphere at hypersonic speeds.
She's
meaning,
molting.
More than 5, or at this point, will be more than 5 times the speed of sound.
She's molting.
Now we're watching these live views.
She's shedding her
HD
wings.
views by the looks of it, thanks to Starlink. You can see that the flaps there on the ship might be actuating. Certainly some incredible
something's not right.
visions of planet Earth behind Starship. Now, we've already validated Starship's ability to fly and land at subsonic speeds. You might recall those suborbital flights from a few years ago, and we can see those flaps there.
Don't clap
getting
yet.
Data on
She's
aspects
still
like
tilting.
heating and control while traveling way faster than we did before is going to be critical to eventually bringing Starships back from space for rapid reuse. So I mentioned those flaps. That's one of the things that enables Starship to help control itself and survive the heat of reentry, which, like we said before, we're expecting that reentry to occur around T plus 49 minutes. So we're
we too almost
getting
came
pretty
in
close here.
upside down as well.
What you're seeing here, it looks like the vehicle is sort of moving back and forth.
Fixed.
Part of what you're also seeing is one of the cameras, this onboard view that we have, is on the end of a flap. Starship has front flaps and rear flaps in the vehicle. So we've got 4 of those. And oh man, we can see the heating on those flaps as we're starting to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere.
Way, please.
This is where the Earth's atmosphere is doing the work to slow us down.
Now, like
there we
said,
go.
This plasma field
just in time. We'll see if she holds it.
We hope to maintain these views throughout. Starship is so
She's
big
not holding it.
that we're hoping that the plasma field doesn't entirely blanket the entire vehicle. Right now, it is not. The Starlinks are
Views brought
still,
to you by Starlink.
Yeah, the Starlinks are still communicating and still capturing the data and the video that we see here. I mean, Shiva, this is just absolutely incredible views. We've never seen anything like this before. This is the biggest flying object ever in space.
Absolutely, Kate. And
they're
it's
early on the
important to
re-entry.
note, the ascent burn that we did was to get us to orbital velocities, even though we were on a nearly orbital trajectory. So the heating and the loads that Starship is going through right now are what it would be getting if it were recovering from an orbital mission. And just the fact that we have views through entry, this is incredible.
Yeah, this is pretty awesome view.
This is the furthest and fastest
We're losing
that Starship has
We're losing
ever
it.
flown.
Stay with us.
And you can definitely tell by the crowd here in Hawthorne.
The heat shield tiles doing their work. We talked about it earlier. Up to 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit that those heat shield tiles are dissipating as we are re-entering.
Yeah, now this was one of the critical, or rather the key mission objectives that we were hoping to hit today. We have never, like I said before, this is the fastest and furthest that Starship has ever flown. So this is the first time that we're getting to collect this re-entry data and understand how these 18,000 hexagonal heat shield tiles are working together to protect the belly of Starship as it re-enters the Earth's atmosphere.
SpaceX
once
doesn't
again,
know that you don't actually need the heat shield tiles to re-entry. We did it. Barely.
The atmosphere is actually doing us a huge favor here by acting as a braking system for Starship as it re-enters the atmosphere.
She's
and that's
nose
part
down.
of the reason why the flaps are so important. We're using the body of Starship and the drag from the atmosphere to slow us down from orbital speed. But you want the vehicle to remain stable. You want those heat shield tiles pointed down so they can absorb the heat of the Earth's atmosphere. And so that's the purpose that they are serving during the hypersonic phase and then again during the subsonic phase.
Absolutely. So like we said, these views are being provided by a couple Starlink terminals that are positioned on Starship itself.
She's tumbling
as that plasma
a little bit.
builds, we're hoping that we can bring these views
that's what
back
this
to
is
you.
showing.
But you can see the telemetry there on the right-hand side of your screen. If you watch closely, you can see the speed decelerating. Again, that's the friction of the atmosphere resulting in this plasma field, or excuse me, the blanket that is potentially blocking the Starlink terminals right now. So we'll bring those views back to you if we get them. But right now, for those of you that have recently joined, Starship is currently re-entering Earth's atmosphere. This is super exciting because it's the furthest and fastest that Starship has ever flown.
It's just absolutely incredible. Major test milestone, something we wanted to accomplish on Flight 2, getting to it today. So just awesome.
Now, we actually have some heat shields here. So these are what's doing all the work on Starship right now. There are 18,000 hexagonal heat shields like these. So this one that I have is flat, like this is what would be positioned on the flaps of Starship, whereas Shiva has something a little different.
Yeah, the one I have would be on the curved surfaces of Starship. I'll just put it in frame here. So we've got these attached at various points around the vehicle. Like you said, Kate, 18,000 of these tiles around, and they're doing the work to make sure that the structure of the vehicle doesn't carry all that thermal load, so we can recover the vehicles eventually and get to rapid reuse on them.
They're really lightweight. They sound a little different than I would have expected them to, but they are ceramic. And these are what's helping Starship survive through this period of entry. We're not sure how far we're going to make it. Again, this is the furthest that we've gotten in our test flight, but the further we fly, the more data that we can get, and that's ultimately the measure of success here, which, I mean, I think today has been a huge success given where we've gone and how much further we've gotten with both the booster and Starship itself.
And one of the beautiful things about Starlink on board the vehicle, we were getting that high-speed video. High-speed video is a very high data rate, and usually video comes after you get your telemetry. So hopefully we were able to get some wonderful data throughout the entry period, which is normally something we have to wait for until after splashdown when we get that data off the data recorders.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned before the flaps. Again, that the flaps are protected by the flat heat shields like I have. There are 4 of those positioned on Starship, 2 at the forward end or the top end, and 2 at the bottom or aft end. And they operate independently to aerodynamically control the vehicle's attitude or positioning during atmospheric flight and enable precise landing at the intended location. So today we are intending to splash down in the Indian Ocean, and we're hoping that we can make it that far, but regardless, it is an exciting end to what has been an exciting day.
Absolutely, and I mean, we've had some tests in the past. We had suborbital campaigns where we have tested out the aerodynamic flaps at subsonic speeds, so that's below the speed of sound. At hypersonic speeds, well, supersonic speeds first, so faster than the speed of sound, and then hypersonic speeds, so that's more than 5 times the speed of sound. The equations of motion change, how the vehicle responds changes. So going through that control phase where we're going from faster than the speed of sound to below the speed of sound was one of the objectives today.
Yeah. And that's actually a great point, because we are expecting that entry subsonic period to occur around T+1 hour and 3.5 minutes. So we're not there yet. We're about 10 minutes away from that point. So again, that is when Starship would be traveling slower than the speed of sound, thanks to the atmospheric braking system.
And so right now we're still waiting to see if we're going to get data back from this ship. We might be in a bit of a blackout period right now.
Oh, gross.
So still waiting to hear the status on it. But yeah, we got to the actual entry portion of today. We started into peak heating, which was just a really big milestone. Starship is pretty unique in the way that it re-enters, especially for something reusable. The closest parallel has been the space shuttle. When we're comparing Starship to like when we bring a Falcon 9 booster back, we're talking about 20 times the energy given the velocity that we're moving at, and all of that energy just gets converted into heat, and then we need to use those tiles to just help dissipate that heat. They're not ablative like you would see on something like Dragon, which uses an ablative in the capsule shape. So they are these tiles that are made to be reusable. So any data we're getting on the actual temperatures it was seeing during heating, all of that is just really hugely valuable. Where Starship is really unique is, and Kate and Shiva have talked about it a couple of times, is once we're through this kind of hypersonic section and we get down to
Malgating son of a gun.
And that's where we really learned a lot and proved that Starship's really just its basic shape could work. And we did that during the suborbital campaign. Again, if you compare it to the shuttle, which entered, it had the wings. It had a similar heat shield system, but it had wings, and then was almost flown like a glider once it re-entered and was down to those subsonic speeds. With Starship, we're not doing that. We're just coming straight down We'll hit terminal velocity, which with Starship is around 200 miles an hour, and then we use a flip maneuver to ignite those engines, do a landing burn, and then touch down on the ground. So you don't need a runway. We're doing that, again, designed because when we go to the moon, when we go to Mars, there's not going to be a runway there for us, and so that propulsive landing is going to be really important. This is an animation of pretty much what we were just watching on actual Starship video, which is pretty incredible. But we go through peak heating. One of the benefits of today's trajectory, actually, we got closer to what the heating profile will be on just a normal mission when you compare it to our previous flights, which were headed out to Hawaii. So we go through peak heating, and then we hit subsonic, and then Starship splashes down in the ocean. Again, we're not doing a landing burn on this flight, and we're not expecting Starship to survive the impact. We're not going to be recovering any of the hardware. For now, though, we are just still waiting to see if we're going to get some signal back. We're currently at a loss of signal with Starship. Don't know for sure what its status is, and so we're just continuing to listen in. But it was pretty incredible seeing the flaps really do their thing to maneuver the vehicle as it's moving through hypersonic. One of the big trade-offs between something like Shuttle and Starship is wings can be pretty heavy.
His batteries ran out of
so
juice.
if we can really demonstrate that Starship's controllable through that hypersonic regime when you're coming through the atmosphere, 25 times the speed of sound, you can save a whole lot of weight by not having really big wings. So super valuable to get this data, super valuable to then figure out what we're going to do on our next test flights.
Yeah, and you brought up a really interesting point, too, that for on Shuttle, you are gliding in, going back to a runway. On Starship, because we're landing vertically, we are basically coming down, and then we've seen this during the suborbital campaign. We're not going to see it today, but during the suborbital campaign, we did the flip maneuver and then light our engines for a landing burn. And that's also really important for some of our other terrestrial destinations. That we don't have as much of an atmosphere on Mars. There is pretty much no atmosphere. There's some great views from our previous test campaigns.
That's crazy.
Of a landing burn and upright landing. But on the moon, there is no atmosphere. On Mars, the atmosphere is extremely thin. So you actually need some other sophisticated techniques that other landers have used to land there. And so this vertical landing technique is really important to landing on destinations like those, which is ultimately where we're trying to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So we hope to demonstrate that landing in future missions. That wasn't one of our objectives for today.
We have telemetry that's been paused for a few minutes now. If it's still alive, which it might be because it's in plasma blackout right now, I guess, in a couple minutes it might come through. That's what we're waiting on.
Gathering data on how the heat shield tiles performed during the entry period, and so far all of that has gone really well. So overall, it's been pretty great, and it's great to see how those initial tests that we performed a couple years ago for those high altitude tests allow us to see what those will look like in the future. But this piece that we're doing today of, okay, if we are coming back from orbital velocity and we're going through that entry period, that is the missing piece, right? We already figured out how to land once the ship gets to a certain velocity or altitude, and it's really this piece that we were trying to figure out today. How do we get Starship to survive orbital velocity atmospheric entry? And we hope to find out soon.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about rapid iteration and how we do design. Part of our philosophy is testing.
So it looked like it re-entered a few minutes early, around like T plus 46 minutes or so. It was supposed to enter around T plus 49 minutes. So on the original timeline, it was supposed to go subsonic at T plus 1 hour and 3 minutes. So if you subtract a few minutes because it might have been early, we're looking at about T plus 1 hour and maybe 1 hour and 1 minute. That if it survived, it could, make itself known to us. It's probably dead by now. It was tumbling there for a while, as you saw. But if it is alive, we should know within the next 2 minutes, 3 or 4 tops.
Making contact with the Earth's atmosphere, and that resulted in some plasma. So as Dan said before, we believe that we're in a bit of a blackout period at the moment. We are expecting the vehicle, if it's still alive, we would be expecting the vehicle to be approaching subsonic or slower than the speed of sound speeds in 3.5 minutes from now. So if it's still up there in one piece, it still has a way to go. We're not there just yet. But we saw that plasma field building up around the exterior, which can blanket the entire vehicle, as it does with all of our Dragon missions, and we're at a loss for telemetry at that point in time.
Yeah.
So
Dan's seen a lot of those with Dragon missions that he's supported.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we are hearing through some of the telemetry that it did look like we lost Starlink and our TDRS data flow at the exact same time. Now, if both of those signals are cutting out at the exact same time, that could mean we lost the ship. It has been several minutes since we've gotten any data from Starship. We are waiting just a couple more minutes just to see if we can get any additional confirmation, but that is one data point that we're tracking, and that could indicate that we had a loss or a breakup of the ship during that re-entry. So might not make it all the way to splashdown today, but we were able to get through the early phases of re-entry, hit some of that peak heating, which was just really incredible to see a Starship coming back from space after getting all those views from space for the very first time. So we'll just keep on listening in on the loops here, see if we hear anything over the next couple of minutes. And that might bring a close to a pretty successful day so far. So again, we did lose the TDRS. That's the tracking and data relay satellite. That's the satellite system that pretty much every spacecraft operating in orbit right now will use to get data. We were able to get some signal through that. And then we were also getting data back through Starlink.
Live view here of mission control.
Is that the guy from Korn?
Down at Starbase. So these are all the folks who are experts on the various different systems, taking a look at the live data that we did have. Probably in mission mode still, but
absolutely.
It would be so tough to stay focused with what an exciting day we've had today.
Yeah, to quote Monty Python, I'm not dead yet. We don't know, as Dan said. We did lose connection with TDRS, which is the tracking and data relay satellite system, and Starlink at the same time. So it is a realistic possibility that we lost Starship, which honestly was always on the table. We didn't know how far it was going to get. The further we could fly and the more data we could collect was always the biggest win. And so regardless of, if we did lose the vehicle and we are not able to, make it all the way to our intended splashdown, note that we weren't intending to recover this vehicle, either vehicle, the Super Heavy booster nor the Starship. We weren't intending to recover either of them. They were both going to basically hit at terminal velocity and break up upon contact with the surface of the ocean. So we're standing by to hear whether or not we are going to be able to get telemetry readings back, but we are possibly anticipating news that we lost Starship due to basically a double blackout from TDRS and Starship data at the same time.
But it's worth mentioning, this is the first time that we have come back at these speeds in any of the test flights that we've done so far with Starship. So we are trying to prove out that the heat shield works as intended, that the controllability at those hypersonic speeds works as intended. So if we were able to get back any data on that, that means the next version, what happens on flight 4, 5, 6, is going to be better.
We must be able to get some, because we saw incredibly gorgeous high definition views of that
according
entry
to the
period,
flight profile, it should
was
be landing
starting.
right now.
So we must have gotten some data.
Today has been otherwise a phenomenal day. Liftoff on
unacceptable,
time,
SpaceX.
full ignition
We made it
of
further
all
than
of the
your
boosters,
Starship.
Engines, successful hot staging, and then
very successful flight today.
Absolutely. We were able to see the ship actually make it further, as well as the booster.
Got hairy
we were
arms.
hoping that that the booster would perform a soft water landing, but we lost it during just before it was able to ignite the landing burn. But the ship continued on. We saw all six Raptor engines on the ship ignite and then shut down for second engine cutoff. And we saw some amazing views as well, and it's just been certainly a day that I will be taking many screenshots and using them as my computer desktop background for, well, until the next Starship launch.
When we get even better views, I'm sure.
Exactly.
And we also hit a number of our other ambitious test objectives. We had a chance to at least initiate the commands for a propellant transfer demo within the vehicle. This is something that Starship's going to have to do in the future, and these sort of transfers haven't been done at this scale before, so that's a first as well. We also were able to demonstrate that the payload door functions.
And we got to see that,
Yeah, and so those commands were sent. Again, data review to come and make sure that everything performed as expected, but that's going to be critical to deploying payloads in the future once Starship becomes operational. So a number of test objectives hit, much more accomplished than Flight 2, and making steady progress towards a fully, rapidly reusable, reliable Starship.
Absolutely.
And hey, Kate, and hey, Shiva, we were just hearing on the loops, we are making the call now that we have lost Ship 28. So as we were possibly expecting, we lost the data a couple of minutes ago. We haven't heard from the ship up until this point, and so the team has made the call that ship has been lost. So no splashdown today, but again, just it's incredible to see how much further we got this time around. We had a couple of those ambitious objectives that you guys were just walking through that we're able to take advantage of while Starship was in outer space flying.
The reflection, it looks like these hulls have a cross line.
Just really incredible.
Keep thinking that.
Obviously, there's a lot to go through.
Cryo test
everyone always wants to know right off the bat what happened. Takes us a little bit of time. But I can assure you, as soon as we start finding things out, we're going to let everybody know. And I know everybody's going to be excited for the next one. I mean, as I pointed out in the beginning, there's 4 super heavy boosters either fully stacked or getting stacked right behind me. We've got other ships ready to go as well. So it's going to be a really busy time down here at Starbase as we look to really fly Starship as much as possible, get this vehicle ready to go for all the important things it's got to go do.
And with that, we got to say a huge congratulations to our teammates and everyone who's supported the Starship program. There's been flames and reds along the way, but third time's the charm, and we made it to space. We also a big thanks to all of our future customers for your support, and we want to give a big thanks to the people of Cameron County, Texas, for their support, as well as the Coast Guard and the Federal Aviation Administration.
Be sure to follow the SpaceX account on X for more updates from today's test flight and future Starship tests. But before we go, we want to wish SpaceX a very happy birthday. The company was founded on this day in 2002 when it basically consisted of this small team, a carpet and a mariachi band. I don't know about you, but we're feeling 22. Also, it's Pi Day.
All right. So did Elon fire the mariachi band? What happened to those guys? I don't see them in the control room. What the heck, man? Check this out. SpaceX is hiring, so maybe all of us should apply and show them how it's done, right? Since we were able to bring Starship in without heat shields, and yeah, I think the first thing we do, guys, when we start working at SpaceX is we throw some chutes on that beast. That's the problem. They don't have chutes, brah. All right. Our chute really didn't do much for us. It did kind of get us pointed in the right direction momentarily, but that was just our first run. All right. They've had 3 tries now, SpaceX. What the crap, dude? No, very, very awesome flight, very successful. Room for improvement, but that's how SpaceX does things. They test and reiterate. They just launch and launch and launch and launch, unlike how NASA and other companies do it, which means more fun for us. You have a hairy face. Thank you. You want to come pet it? Not as hairy as this guy's butt. But well, I'm going to wrap it up there, you guys. It was fun hanging out with you this morning. There will be no SpaceX in the news tomorrow. So I'll see those of you who tune into my personal theological channel on Sunday when I upload my lesson. No, I don't think he's dead yet. He's hilarious though. When he still has puppy brain. I think he's like 2.5 years old, but he has puppy brain still. So he'll go crazy, and then his batteries will run out, and he'll get them charged up partially like in just a few minutes, and he'll be back up on his feet. Yeah, it was fun, guys. It's good seeing you. So until next time, Godspeed. I can't reach my outro button. Oh, there it is.